entire game after failing to get a kill in game 1. Oh,
wait,
we got the picture-in-picture.
All right,
we get to watch the end.
Catch up with the draft.
All right, so we kept going. Oh, we had TP available.
Well, try to escape.
Silly. Okay, we're silly. We had TP available. And we just, we were silly gooses.
No, I think they're silly gooses, to be honest. Using TP there, I could have killed the Lulu. You know, I know the ETO
I think you're Delulu.
But no, I think I could have killed the Lulu and got out as well. Just me personally.
Hey, listen, Roodood was a tier 3 player, so he knows what's up.
Roodood was a tier 3 player for a little bit. That's true. Okay, let's not harp on that too much because people will ask questions and then they'll look at me on Gamepedia and they'll realize how successful that was. We have got a draft though. Yone, Lilia, Pantheon ban taken away by EDG. Ultra Prime take out Nico, Vi, and Azir again away from Angel. Obviously sides have been swapped and a Skarner B1 coming through. A lot of dive for EDG already. And with the Jhin locked in, they have that over-the-top support. So whoever it is that UP end up taking down or taking into that mid lane, it's going to need to be able to defend themselves because there's a Skarner and there's a Gwen who's going to be jumping on here.
Yeah, and a lot of, good utility options still for EDG. Ultra Prime, I think it's wise for them to pick up their support here. They're going to go with the Rel a little bit more all-in than worrying about the Skarner engaging on you, is to send a very clear signal that Ultra Prime will be banning out supports.
Yes. Hello there. We are signaling to you. Maybe Bard actually gets taken off the table here as well. I actually think Bard is a really solid pick for Wink if he can take the pick. With Jhin as a bot lane duo, it's really good, but then also setting up for keeping your Rumble safe, keeping your Varus safe if you want to go for an immobile mid laner as well. A Bard could honestly wreck you. It's a fringe pick that we might not end up seeing be played. It is definitely one that you need a little bit of comfort on before you can just whip out on stage. But for Ultra Prime, they've got themselves some very solid team fight already, whether this is poke or all attack speed Varus. They've got some very decent long range and decent team fight with the equalizer and the damage that the Varus is going to do. So looking to see them build up more of that team fight aggression, and then EDG with that element of dive, element of split push as well with the Gwen. We will see who it is that's going to be able to come out on top and what the rest of their draft looks like, probably to facilitate more side laning.
The natural predator of the Skarner, that Zyra taken away in the jungle. See what the options are going to be later on in the draft for Ultra Prime, because Ultra Prime, listen, there's still an angle here where you could, elect to go some sort of melee mid laner. Maybe you end up getting the Silas, and then you can go ahead and you can pick a Sejuani. Sure, it's not like, hey, we're gonna dominate the Skarner, but it's like, hey, we can dominate fights at least.
Might be Lee Sin here for Junhao, to be honest. Like, that's a pick that we've seen him take a couple of times now. And, tends to have decent performances on it. Say tends to instead of 100% does. But it's that, again, melee-style jungler that gives him a little bit of agency to make things work. Maybe versus a Skarner, not going to feel the best in that 1 versus 1, and instead does opt into the Sejuani. And thinking about melee mids that are going to pair up with this, we are looking for ADs specifically, because they've already got Rumble, they've got Sejuani. That's a lot of magic damage in their back pocket already. So your Silas, your Akali is not really as highly likely. But I'm looking at melee AD mid laners that would be happy to play up against what might end up being a victor here for Angel. The only ones really that spring to mind in the first place are Yasuo, maybe Zed, maybe Talon, but like these are just examples of melee AD mid laners, not things that I expect to see get taken into an R5 of a really important game for Ultra Prime.
Yeah, maybe you're doing this like CDR Zed build, I guess, because I don't really think you're going to be able to kill anybody else other than the Jhin or the Victor. With this Nautilus, again, we have seen teams opt in to double AP solo laners with the single solitary AD threat. So it is still on the table. Whoa. Oh, that would be something. But it is still on the table for Saber if he wants to go pick it up. Saber, over the course of his career, Silas is his 3rd most played. He will lock it in here.
Okay, well, they are very magic damage focused. And now this means that Wako has to go poke. Just because it doesn't mean he has to, but it means he's very much more likely to go poke. Building a lot of AD as opposed to that on hit, which can hybrid into quite magic damage focus as well. But when I'm looking at this for EDG, again, looking at their problems with this composition. It's now, how do I kill Xiaohao? He's going to build a lot of HP, he's going to build a lot of magic resistance, and he probably doesn't need to build any armor. Looking at how much damage and a poke virus is going to do to a Skarner, you can absorb that with HP. You don't need to build that armor to sustain versus a poke virus at all. So, again, could be problematic if this Skarner ends up getting nice and tanky, and this time around it'll be Ultra Prime who sit and struggle with the idea of taking out a tank. But nevertheless, if Skarner fails to get off the ball or fails to get off the ground, or if they start snowballing as Ultra Prime, very real possibility that they can run away with this game nice and quickly too.
The question that I have, Roodood, is this a draft that EDG can get a kill from?
Yeah.
The answer has to be yes. You do have the Skarner, and you should have a good amount of damage coming out of the Gwen. But we are seeing the bot lane shut down.
You kind of need to be able to get a kill with that. Surely.
Yeah, you have to, right? We'll see if maybe Ultra Prime is able to shut down ZDZ over on the top side, much akin to they did to the bottom lane the last time out. And if that's the case, then I do worry for the health of Edward Gaming, and I do wonder what they're going to look like coming into this game as well. And it's got to be incredibly taxing to play a game that goes about 30 minutes and just have nothing go right. You know, even professional players have that issue too, right? We all know people are people.
Honestly, I think that those are the games that aren't taxing. Like, honestly, if I'm EDG last game, 10 minutes in, I knew that, honestly, if I'm on 2 minutes in, I knew that game was over. I'm so uninvested from that game from the get-go. And obviously, you know, don't advocate for quitting or, like, losing out and losing hope in your game. You obviously play to win as best as possible, but, like, the odds of them winning that game from level 1 in my head, I'm like, okay, well, this game is very difficult. The emotional investment maybe not quite as high, but I do want to dial back in on this game and talk about the stakes necessarily, and also the win conditions for both of these two teams. For EDG, they've got the scaling this time. They've got Victor going into the late game, Jin going into that late game, and a Gwen as well with Exhaust going to be able to do really, really good things as we reach, you know, the 20-30 minute marker. And for Ultra Prime, quite the opposite. They've got now the burden of execution on their shoulders with Silas, Varus needing to get that early game aggression down, and you know, Varus maybe not necessarily a champion that falls off later on, but his damage in team fights doesn't hit quite as hard as that of a Jin. So definitely looking at this Ultra Prime composition and thinking, you know, you got to do something soon, and they may be going for it from level 1.
Yeah, the mid jungle duo of Junhao and Saber. Expect them to be a little bit stronger early on. Obviously, it kind of depends on how much poke Saber ends up taking from Angel, being the melee into the range. But if he's relatively healthy, he's able to move around with Junhao. I think that a lot of early strength out of Silas can do well, especially with getting the perma-fall snaps up. This is Yanni on and Wink this time around with the advantage in this lane, looking to tell them that turnabout is fair play. We can also hit level 2 first and maybe try to take control of this.
Yeah, I think importantly, it's that Wako and Xiaohao have not lost all of their HP and been forced to recall just yet. It is a bit of a crucial difference between game 1 and this one. Yeah, they are taking a little bit of a brunt of damage, but yeah, they are getting all the experience, and it looks like they're getting a majority of the gold as well, which is important, as Junhao was just barely spotted on his Raptors as he walked his way into that pit. Just a little bit ahead of Xiaohao, currently on the clear, but you know, the Crooks take that a little bit longer amount of time, so going to have to see whether or not it gets evened up as we move into potentially top crab fights. Mid lane push in favor of the Victor, as we would expect. Same for this top side. The Gwen with Exhaust able to bully out the Rumble just a little bit earlier on.
Junglers up on the top side doing full clears bottom to top. Don't really expect too many fireworks here unless somebody missteps over on the top side. We saw ZDZ get that ward down, meaning that Junhao would have to take some creative pathing. But also the fact that Jung is pushed in means that not really going to be able to do too much if you are Xiaohao. So just farm up, hit level 6, then make your impact known with those impales, perhaps.
Yeah, and surprised to see Junhao actually be able to flex in here. He's a lot faster on that clear than anticipated. Now moving in onto ZDZ, looking to burn that exhaust.
All right, we got jungle combat. Yo, we got beef, baby. Is Xiaohao taking fairly low? Yep, good roam from Wink means that the top side scuttle will be secured.
He's bored of bot lane. Had enough. Remembered game number 1. Decided, yeah, no thank you. Now, okay, well, wait for Skarnity. Okay, Junhao. He was ready. He obviously saw the Nautilus on a ward. He wasn't window shopping. Always good.
Link is going to head up here and look to help out ZDZ, get this one pushed out into the turret of Jung. And get a nice little back for himself.
Good look to dive here. No barrier for on, and maybe just upfront damage going to be enough, but I don't think they've got quite enough in the tank. Between Cleanse and Flash, it's really difficult for the Virus, actually, to find the damage. You can't proc the Blight. You lose out on a lot of that damage under the turret, but aren't able to successfully farm up, and overall then a very good roam from Wink. Just gives his jungler a top crab, means that he's a little bit faster to go back to base. Gets a slightly better recall as well. We can see just the discrepancy in Giant Spelt versus double Ruby Crystals. Not going to be the biggest difference in the world, let's be honest, but it does give Xiaohao a way to farm up that little bit faster. And you can see in terms of pacing, he's already now 2 camps ahead of or a camp ahead rather, of his counterpart.
Dragon up on the bottom side of the map, of course. The Cloud Drake, about 45 seconds. You're going to see the Grubs. You know that you'd love to give the Grubs over to ZDZ and let him split push away and have a great time. So we'll see if EDG puts any sort of priority on them. Xiaohao already clearing his top side of his jungle. He just dinged level 5, so it doesn't look like he'll be level 6 for any potential fight.
Drake already up on the bot side, Grub spawning in 20 seconds time. Xiaohao now showing his face up in this top lane. EDG, again, looking at just slowing this game down as best as possible. They're in no rush to make this game accelerate in terms of pace, and with this composition that scales a lot better as we move into the late game, they can just sit back and relax. If they have to give the early grubs, they'll be more than happy to do so. You can see in the Victor's build path as well for Angel, he is with no intention of fighting.
Okay.
Say that.
No, the intention is on the side of Ultra Prime. Xiaohao is here though, as Angel is ignited. And he's taken low, but will be able to walk out alive.
Yeah, okay, and this is, you know, Catalyst plus Grasp Victor, so there's a lot of HP to work with. Able to sustain through the Rel and the Silas there. Any other build path, he probably ends up going down and doesn't quite have the, or rather in this instance, does have the HP to keep himself alive as his jungler. He's going to take those grubs on the top side, or rather lose out on those grubs on the top side, I should say, without trading back on that dragon. Normally you will see Drake traded as a response, but it's Ultra Prime that find those first 3 grubs, put themselves in a position now where actually without Xiaohao taking that Drake early on, maybe there's a contest to happen.
Yeah, and maybe Ultra Prime this time around will right their wrongs and they'll say, you know what, we will perfect game EDG this time. Well, we'll see, we'll see. That would be absolutely something. We see Junhao up on the top side here. I'm gonna maybe make a plan to ZDZ. ZDZ will complete this back. Does not have teleport. So these 3 grubs immediately going to put in a little bit of work. Should mean a play.
Yeah. He'll pick this plate up as he's recalling. Plus 125 gold for the Rumble. So a good little start off to this game for Zhang in the top lane. But there needs to be more from Ultra Prime. They've still got a decent amount of time before that more needs to happen. But we'll say that their composition, again, the one that is burdened with the necessity to execute on their early game win condition. This Varus building out that poke with the Sejuani looking up towards that mid to late game, starting to get to be the front line for their team. He doesn't have the luxury of being able to just build one type of resist like Junhao, or like that Xiaohao does, excuse me. He's got to deal with a Jhin, got to deal with a Gwen as well. Those are 2 damaging carries that, given enough time, will be able to take you out. So the burden of execution very much on Ultra Prime, and you can see ZDZ, no ward, potentially under pressure, has no W either. Dashes
away with that equalizer, but will be run down. The exhaust goes down, but it doesn't matter. Zhang is going to pick up first blood.
And just a little bit disrespectful there from ZDZ. Uses the Hallowed Mist to try to push in the wave, but then sticks around after it's down. It's really easy for Junhao to just walk in, snipe him out with the Glacial Prison, and just like that, it's first blood going over to Ultra Prime. Didn't take us 15 minutes like it did in game number 1, but just as we asked for them to potentially make a little bit of a play, push that envelope a little bit further, they're able to do so. It's not without a response though. Taking a look at this top side, Xiaohao walks in, takes the Raptors, going to take the red as well. So Junhao going to be sacrificing a little bit here, but as a Sejuani, that is kind of your job.
Yeah, he's so happy with that, right? It's like, okay, you know, I knew this was probably going to happen. Obviously, you'd like to have your buff still up, so it's not like he's ecstatic about it. But he went and he made a play on the other side of the map. Good stuff. Got the Rumble really kick-started here. We see no pings around the Dragon or anything. But it looks like both teams are ready and steadily ignoring this Dragon. Second spawn of Grubs will be up in about a minute. And I think at this point in time, you know, Ultratron might be okay to just let that go. But, you know, Equalizer's early power is so strong, and, you know, I'd like to see them leverage that to try to win every single objective fight if possible.
Yeah, and with 50 seconds, I mean, it's going to be up in time, no doubt. So maybe we'll see it be the trade this time round, and EDG only take themselves one Dragon on the second spawn of Grubs. But it looks like Winks up on this top side to try and take out Saber. Looks to be able to steal
at the right time. Saber dashing at the right time. He's below half HP. Gonna take his back here. We'll see if Angel's gonna poke him off. Ah, Saber, come on. Back away, back in a safe spot.
He's good. He has teleport as well, so the can move down to the bot side. Probably gonna catch that wave that we see ZDZ pushing in as well. And straight onto the wave also, because his bot lane, or his team rather, are taking this Dragon. This Junhao with a bit of a gutsy start, I will say.
He's lost a lot from it.
Yeah, Junhao is in the top lane right now, and TP is available for both Angel and Xiong. See if we'd look to use that Rumble Equalizer, or if we're going to get a little bit of this Nirvana special. And nobody really wanting to push that trigger, and actually in the end, nothing really happens.
EDG has now gone 40 minutes of game time without a kill, and they give up the objective as well.
Wow. Wow.
Well, maybe not. Hold on, Xiaohao coming through. Here's the hook landing onto Xiaoxia. Good flash to dodge out of the ultimate, but Saber getting the impale there. Here's the equalizer and a really good spot. So much damage coming through. Wink goes down. ZDZ on the backside dealing with Wako. Can Wako live through this? He flashes away. Woo! ZDZ's an auto away from dying. Can't quite land the Q. And yet EDG still come up empty on kills. Here comes the curtain call. Maybe this will change. Young trying to get out, and he will be able to. This is absolutely ridiculous, Roodood.
We are counting down the minutes for EDG to find their first kill in this series, and we're 40 minutes in, Yanni. That's a second objective that we've not been able to see EDG find a kill at. Despite ZDZ having free access to Wako, he wasn't able to take out Varus, and that speaks to the devastating position that EDG find themselves in. ZDZ not in a position to take out Varus. They didn't lose the Dragon, I think is the real only saving grace that we can speak of. But so many ultimates being expended here. A great flash from Wink means that he buys himself a little bit of time. He also ulties as well to knock up Saber so he doesn't get pulled back nearly as far. But the deciding factor there, Xiaoxia makes his way in, catches them off guard, and means that for EDG, their hopes of finding a kill in this series still not yet being answered.
They will at least get this set of Grubs, so we will not see a perfect game again. Well, again, we won't see a perfect game. There hasn't been one for those who may be just tuning in. But man, this is a similar domination to the first one. The good news is for EDG, they didn't give up 6 Grubs this time. Right? We saw how much 6 Grubs actually did for Ultratron. Maybe an opportunity for the first kill here. As Young is a bit out of position, slammed up against the wall. Is below half HP, flashes away, gets exhausted, pulled back in, and the boys did it! The kill goes over to On.
They're on the board, everybody. Let's go, EDG. 30 plus 13 minutes, 43 in total for them to find their first kill, but what does it cost them? Looking at the mid lane, a couple of plates going over to Wako, the exhaust from ZDZ as well. Now looking at that bot lane, Saber pushes in an unanswered wave. Junhao able to start up this Dragon. But this is not all the EDG get. Looks like ZDZ is actually going to be able to take down the entire turret on this top side. That 4th plating as well, with first brick, is very significant quantities of gold going into the Gwent's back pocket. 425, plus the wave that he caught as well. This is now a Gwen that previously had access to a Varus, and the Varus lived. And you'd like to think that going forward, that is not going to be the case.
Yeah, equalize the gold up there as well. You know, Jung has 2 kills, 2 1-1, a CS lead, and now they're even on gold. So very good stuff here. We'll see, as you said, if ZDZ is able to match the impact that Jung has had on this game so far. 14 minutes in, Herald up in a little bit less than 2 minutes, but remember, we do know that the Nirvana teams, once the kills start coming in and the fights start working, they will fight over damn near anything, as you said. Already Junhao looking to make a play as he thinks that Angel is up a little bit too far. But Angel is well aware.
I also want to point out that this is very good for EDG. They are down 2 kills, but they are up 1,000 gold. Their composition scales much better into the late game, and whilst we did see Ultra Prime take a good fight around that bot side jungle, they didn't really get anything else from it. They've only just now been able to take that dragon, which puts another timer on how long before they can get their soul. And at that stage, I'm expecting that EDG are going to be more than happy to fight. Angel's already got 4 stacks on his Rod of Ages, so in 6 minutes time, going to be nice and healthy, going to be getting that bonus level up as well. And for the time being, it's all on Ultra Prime still. Let's push this game, because they aren't currently. They are going to lose if they don't do more.
Yeah, you're right. Junhao needs to start pushing the pace a little bit, link up with his AD carry and support who have good CC on this squad, and maybe get a pick or 2. 40 seconds until this Herald. This does mean that EDG, you know, if they don't have control of the river and Ultra Prime does, they could just try to fight around the Herald and lose horribly. That would be a way that Ultra Prime would be able to kind of reverse the fortunes that they currently have. But yes, behind the 8.
Looking at where those next fights are going to come from, Herald spawning in 20 seconds, Drake spawning in 3 minutes, Atacon in 4.5, but the Atacon, you know, we saw it, teams would start the Atacon when it spawned occasionally early on in the season and then realize that actually this is a bit like Baron, we have to take our time, do our due diligence with it most of all. But that Rift Herald for Drake, we can expect to see some fights around there quite soon, and we should expect to see Ultra Prime be the ones attempting to make waves at them. First items finished across the board for everybody outside of our supports. Summoner spells available for everybody except Xiong and ZDZ waiting on their flash, their exhaust.
Oh, Junhao not landing the ultimate, but Wink is going to get tagged up below half HP. Xiong has joined the fight. Here comes the curtain call. Wake are going to be the target, but Wako will be able to walk it out. So as Xiaohao, 4th shot lands, doesn't do a whole lot of damage. Rift Herald down below 3,000 HP. Saber has the ultimate of the Nautilus. If he wants it, he's going to get targeted up by it. Here comes the Equalizer, doing pretty good damage. Wink going to go in. Wink going to get taken out, but ZDZ trying to do the same as Saber's got to flash away. Xiaohao a little bit too deep, and he's going to fall next. Junhao stuck in the back of the pit, and it's a 2-for-1 in favor of EDG for now, and they're going to make it a 3-for-1, as they will be able to find Wako on the backside. But a turnaround kill as well. But that means it's easy pickings for EDG. That Impale got left in the back pocket all fight long, and they ace Ultra Prime. EDG are alive.
And finally, EDG come to party. A 5-4-2 in the top side jungle. They secure the Rift Herald on with an exceptional fight on this Jhin. Flashing away from the initial engage from Xiaohao, constantly keeping himself safe. And now he can move in to take this tier 1 turret as well, to break open that inner line of structures. And for the first time in this series, the tier 1 turret's going to fall for EDG. Another look how this fight broke out. It's Junhao expecting there to be somebody in that brush. Going wide, Wink with a great flash away from the Abscond Abduct and the ensuing piercing arrow. And then just a little bit of poke from the Jhin, right? Nothing particularly ambitious. But look at Xiaohao and look at the flash from On as well after the fact. Xiaohao sat on vision, gets away and gets into the backline, but On keeps himself alive. You need to keep your eyes on the Gwen as well, who was buying so much space and doing so much damage to Ultra Prime that they really never stood a chance. Yes, ZDZ falls in the back half of this, but his job was already done because he just got the team to exactly where they needed to be for that fight.
The big problem about having 3 melees is sometimes you have to play against Gwen. It's usually bad time. Here's a great Impale coming through from Saber.
Into the Herald.
Probably gotten the Herald to dodge out the chains. ZDZ is going to get stunned up. The exhaust on the Saber. ZDZ trying to sustain out, and he's going to be able to get out. And here's a counter Impale. This one's Xiaohao's, and Saber dies on that side. And here we go, curtain call coming through. Going to have to block it up a little bit. Oh, Wako goes down. The 4th shot does not hit Xiaohao, but they still root up Junhao anyway. Look at him driving around. Xiaohao looking like Baby Driver out here. And the 4th shot in the back. It's more kills for EDG. They are fully in control of this game, Roodood.
And they say anything you can do, we can do better. Xiaohao with the OG Impale pulls Ultra Prime into the depths and finds 3 kills and a tier 1 turret as well.
And now Ultra Prime are the ones who are struggling to find kills. We weren't able to get a damn thing there, and ZDZ was able to teleport mid and take out this turret. Remember, he didn't die in that fight. Dragon
just stood there.
To EDG.
He just tanked it.
Yeah, he just ate it. The exhaust went down. It was just enough to keep him outright. Take a look at this replay. I mean,
and so, double Impale, catches ZDZ, catches Xiaohao, and you're thinking, this is great. Xiaohao right-clicking profusely onto the Rift Herald, and then ZDZ, you think is the lamb to the slaughter. But between the R3 from his needlework and an empowered Q and Riftmaker, he's actually able to get out to safety. And then with On, curtain calling down, and Xiaoxia just backstepping with some really good movement. Might not have fallen to the curtain call, but Xiaohao will take out Junhao, finds Yong as well, just to really make him watch. 3-0. It's again an excellent fight, and now again On have to credit this guy after what game number 1 must have done of just, you know, having 0 impact, 0 agency. He's now on this Jin where he's got 5 kills already and has the exact opposite input on this game.
6,500 gold lead right now for EDG, as we talked about, looking very good. Here comes the curtain call, and Wako is dead. Who's going to get it? It's going to be Angel. That 4th shot did so much to Xiaoxia. He slammed him against the wall. That Impale wasn't even needed. It's a double kill for Angel, as EDG as a organization now has 15,000 kills. It took him an extra game to get there.
They could have, this could have been game number 1. However, a massive congratulations to the organization. That is such a massive benchmark as well. I wonder who's a little bit higher. This is where you get to see the LPL Old Faithful. They were number 3, so maybe RNG above?
I would think RNG and maybe IG.
IG probably. Good shouts. We'll see. Somebody will tell us and find that out. But with Ultra Prime this far behind, odds are that EDG are going to put a little bit of a dent in 2nd place and try and close out this game with another couple of kills. But with the way that this game's going, the way that it's gone, and the way that it's going to end, we are going to go to a game 3, Yanni. I mean, this game is pretty much chalked. Again, a reminder that this EDG composition scales much better. They are, you know, up by 7,000 gold 20 minutes into this game, and it doesn't get better for Ultra Prime.
Oh, and it might get a hell of a lot worse in a moment or two because of that false life buff. Change the corruption going to land, but it doesn't do a damn thing. Ultra Prime, I mean, they're going to have to commit so much just to try to get this false life off, and if you do, you're going to die for it. EDG has a damage for days.
So, really it's just a question of what EDG look to do to close this game. We saw it took Ultra Prime 29 minutes to close out a game that was pretty much finished. Oh, they're going in though.
All right, they're going to try to get these false life buffs off. Wink is going to be the first one to fall, but here comes the rest of the fight. There's a good Impale as EDZ is just doing his thing. They do manage to find 2 kills for the side of EDG. Here comes the curtain call. Angel on the backside. The Arcane Storm is getting massive as they take down the Varus. It's 2 kills for Angel. Xiaohao caps off the ace, and EDG are going to run amok in the base.
It's an absolute slaughter, and it's Angel that just walks behind the tier 2 turret and destroys the hopes of Ultra Prime's comeback. They tried to take down some of the false lives, and, you know, they got Wink. They got ZDZ. Congratulations. You found a couple of 100 gold there, but holy moly, did they get absolutely obliterated. A great engage, right? And maybe if you're not this far behind, this actually nets you quite a positive outcome. But it's a triple Impale from Xiaohao. On is free hitting the entire time, and Angel is completely untouched. He's able to walk between the turrets, pop down the ulti, forces double sums from Wako. They don't matter. Forces the flash as well out of his counterpart in the mid lane. They just don't matter, and he even T-poses with the recall after the fact as well. He's feeling himself on the victor.
Nothing matters for EDG more than just getting a win and closing this one out and forcing a game 3. Over 10,000 gold in the lead. Shutdowns abound on jungle, mid, and AD carry. And Ultra Prime are going to really struggle to get any of them. They don't have too many legs to stand on here. 24 minutes into the game. As you said, the scaling for EDG is much, much better than Ultra Prime's. And this game is well and far away from them, and I don't see a way back in.
Yeah, I mean, Drake's spawning on the bot side in about 8 seconds time, but neither one of these two teams are really close to Assault. Angel is going to repeat his successes from last game as Xiaohao just gliding under the turret. This turret up here, really hard to defend, but they're trying.
All right, Impale, it's only onto the Sejuani, but they got plenty of damage, as we said. Got to flash out of there. Here we go, curtain call coming down, but they're going to block for their jungler.
Well.
Fourth shot will not land, but yeah, that Chaos Storm, it did a whole lot, and this means the turret, once this wave comes in, should go over to EDG.
Yes, they defended it for one wave, which buys them, 30 seconds more time, but what are they buying time for, is that question. They needed that fight to find kills. They needed to get something from that situation, and they just got nothing. 2 perfect games put on an Angel so far. Or rather, 2 players with perfect games as Saber.
Here we go. We're going to engage on the Angel here. Scott the Duck did not land, so he's able to flash out of there with half HP. That's the power of Rod of Ages. You're going to see the engage on to On next. He's going to have to flash away, but the health bars are starting to get low. And here comes ZDZ over on the backside. Down goes the Rel. Wink getting low. Blast Cone over on the other side. Young dies. And ZDZ looking to get on top of Saber as he runs out of room 2. The 4th shot from the Jin does 1,000,000 damage. And now it's going to be Wako getting run down by Xiaohao. Xiaohao's going to tank it up. The flash is forced out. Chains goes down, but it doesn't do anything. As the middle inhibitor will fall, and EDG may look to push to end.
Yeah, I mean, this should just be game here. 20 seconds on the solo laners, 10 on Xiaoxia. EDG pushes to a match point and to a game 3.
Second Nexus turret goes down, and EDG, after that rough early start where they didn't get any kills in any of those fights, really turned it on after that. They heard us, Roodood. This is a draft that you can get kills with.
Yeah, they knew that, and I think that their scaling there as well was just a little bit too favorable. They did their stuff early game. They sort of weathered the storm, meant that they lost out on an early grubs. They ended up losing out on a dragon as well, but what they were getting on the cross map was far more important. Early kills onto ZDZ, a first turret for the Gwen, and Angel able to stay in that mid lane very, very comfortably, right? Victor versus Silas, this was a matchup again opted into by the Silas as an idea to try and punish the Victor, but with or without jungle intervention, that was not possible. He was absolutely fine and scaled up to be a terror in that late game.
Yeah, they weren't able to disrupt him in any way, right? And this is, we talked about the strong mid-jungle duo of Ultra Prime, and we expected some disruption out of them. But, they weren't really able to link up at all, Roodood. I mean, we didn't really see Junhao and Saber do much of anything outside of the fights that they showed up in, sure, the 5v5s, but, that's a really disappointing thing to see, because I really expected them to make their mark on the game, and they just were not able to.
No, exactly. I mean, for Ultra Prime, they had a comp which required a plan. It didn't seem that they executed that plan well. Whether or not they had one, right, a completely different story, and we'll never know, but there's an idea of how they needed to play that game, and it was not one that was not fulfilled at all. A very well played game by EDG as they came out swinging in the back half and get themselves to now 1-on-1, pushing themselves to a position where they can keep this 3-0, where they can look to be one of those 2 teams that battles it off into the play-ins. This Nirvana group very much on a knife's edge, and once again you're looking at those teams in the bottom half of Nirvana, right? You're looking as OMG at this series and going, maybe if Ultra Prime, they don't win here and we can find a couple of wins in the back half to close out our series, potentially we don't go home and not play for the rest of the year. Maybe it's just elimination from this split and this year. But yeah, the Ultra Prime fandom needs to be a little bit more on edge now, I would say.
Yeah, and the fandoms of RNG and OMG are probably like, oh my god, EDG, please finish them, take them out, drag them into the muck with us. It would be really, really good for
because the thing is as well is that one of those 2 teams has to play each other, right? So
yes.
Your RNGs and OMGs, one of them is going to get a win somewhere.
Yeah, now the problem is, you take a look, now we have to start getting into maybe talking about like individual game wins. Ultra Prime did get their 3rd individual game win in this series, no matter what happens. So they will at least have 3 wins compared to the 1 win of RNG and OMG in individual games. So that could also be a factor that comes into play. It's time to talk MVPs. I think you got a lot of really, really good options here. I think On played a really good game.
Yeah, I mean, we can look at those in a little bit. We're gonna flick through some of the highlights and look at maybe giving us a better impression of who played these fights best enough to see who might have deserved it. I do think that Wink had a really solid couple of fights on this Nautilus, to be honest. I mean, somehow I've become really enamored with Nautilus mechanics and the R flash things that you can do where you reposition the ulti in an attempt to knock up more people is always quite entertaining. But even just things like this little bit of positioning that he takes, he did just hook the wall, which we'll pretend like we didn't see. But it's nice that we get to see some good action from our supports as well. So frequently we've been sort of ragging on supports in the LPL that we haven't had that next stage, that next coming of truly world-class supports. And I'm not saying that we're finding them in Nirvana, but it is good that we get to see positive things from our supports as well.
Yeah, I mean, Wink in that fight, outside of the hook against the wall, I mean, he made Saber a non-factor there, right? He had the Nautilus ultimate and elected to Nautilus ultimate the Nautilus, right? Yeah. Instead of more priority targets because he wanted to close out on that kill. And a lot of that had to do was because he was tagged with the depth charge and then hooked up. So, you know, I do see your point here, and I think it is very valid. I think this is kind of crazy. That's very far to be able to get into the robot.
Maybe that can be looked at, and we can say, well, maybe the range on that doesn't need to be as long as it is.
We need the VAR.
But, yeah.
Give me the VAR.
Give me a little look at how many Teemos long that was. Am I allowed 20
Where's my pointer?
worth of range?
Where's my pointer?
I love having a pointer, man. Those are so fun. We need to look at as well how well we actually saw this Skarner play. I think that Xiaohao has a very good argument for MVP. I think Angel has a good argument for MVP. I think that those are my three candidates with On, Angel, and Xiaohao. I do think that Xiaohao's game got to be very easy because of the way that Ultra Prime drafted, right? Like, they picked triple AP topside plus Poke Varus. It's always going to be a struggle, and it's always going to be easy for the Skarner to build, but he did play the Skarner itself pretty darn well and did everything that was necessary.
Yeah, a lot of solid impales. Don't think he missed one. You know, and didn't have any crazy ones that are like, wow, you hit 3 members, but in every single fight, he was the one kicking things off, for better or for worse than the first fight of the game that didn't go so hot. But from there, obviously, EDG completely took over the game. So I think if I had to choose between those 3 members, I think I might actually give it to Wink, because I think he did a lot to enable the team. It is tough.
This is one where I don't think I'll be sad when I see it.
Yeah.
Like,
I think everybody except for like ZDZ maybe. And even then, ZDZ had a great game. Like,
ZDZ got funneled. Funneled a little bit, and I don't think
he played well.
He didn't have the pop off in the team fights that we need to see from a Gwen that would like facilitate this guy cooked. This guy was.
He did have that one sick team fight though, where he barely survived on a sliver and then TP'd mid. But I guess if that's your highlight, then maybe you don't deserve the MVP. Let's see who it is.
Yeah. All right. I'm happy with this.
Me too.
This is still fine.
Me too.
I mean, I'm an AD carry player. This is always good.
Same.
I'm 2 for 2 on ADCs, so we're chilling. So frequently do we go underappreciated, Yanni.
The number of MVPs he has.
There's one.
Showing in his picture. But
well, now they're gonna have to change the picture, aren't they?
Oh yeah, he's gonna maybe get a second one in Game 3. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? Only the teams will know once the dust has been settled, and I guess the voters. But we're way ahead of that for right now. What we're going to do for now is take a break, and when we return, we'll give you the exciting conclusion of the first match of the evening between Edward Gaming and Ultra Prime. We'll see you there.